All right, so for this video, I kind of wanted to talk about this whole the I think the title of this video is going to be tapping into limitless possibility, right? And this is something that I've seen whenever I look into like the soul trap information, and I look at people who talk about like the reincarnation trap, right? It seems like that there's this very like defeatist mentality that I see, like especially with like people like Forever Consciousness Research Channel, or people like Howdy Mikowski. They talk about it in a very defeatist way, and it's this thing that I call it the Eeyore energy, like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Like they have that sort of energy, like, oh, we're living in a soul trap. There's reincarnation, and there's archons, and the realities, and they have that energy about them. And whenever and the stuff that they say explicitly might be true, but that's the energy that's coming off of them is like that's not the solution. That's really not. And so it's almost like a Wizard of Oz type of thing, where it's like they're seeing like what they're looking at the Wizard of Oz, but they're not seeing the man behind the curtain, right? And I think that this is a really important thing. If you want, if you're someone who's like into, like the reincarnation trap, soul trap information, that this is something that's really important. That you have to shift your consciousness towards limitless possibility. Like the idea that, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or this is like that cannot be a part of your vocabulary. And because this is how they, yeah, this is how they get you. That's part of like the mind virus. That's part of like the negative, the sort of Saturn moon matrix. Like that's the part of the thinking is the defeatist mentality, the constrained sense of human possibility. Like that's probably like the biggest lie, the biggest deception is convincing you that reality is it's a list of rules and regulations, right? Like, and this is why they push materialism and science so much is like, oh, but there's all these rules, and you can't do this and you can't do that, and there's this rule and there's that rule, right? And there's an objective reality, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like they want to constrain the sense of human possibility as much as possible, and I would argue that that's probably like the cornerstone of this matrix, more than the entities themselves. That's the cornerstone of this matrix, is constraining the sense of human possibility as much as possible, to constrain that, oh, you can't do this, this is impossible, that's impossible, to constrain that as much as possible, to create a limited sense of possibility, to create a sort of spiritual myopia, right? And this is something that's sort of frustrating to see, because even in people in the who are into like the soul trap information, they're still not tapped into limitless possibility. They're not tapped into infinite potentiality, and they take on that Eeyore defeatist mentality, like they like this, and like they're all depressed and all sad and all that. And of course it's depressing. Of course the soul trap's depressing, but you can't like you can't expect to defeat the soul trap with that with while still operating within that constrained sense of possibility, because that constrained sense of possibility is still a part of the matrix. It's like these people get it, but they still don't get it, right? They still don't get that that's still, you're still in the matrix. If you do that, you're still in the soul trap, because it's a state of consciousness, right? And that constrained limited possibility, I can't, I'm just little me, and there's this rule and there's that rule, and all this other stuff, like that constrained sense of possibility is the thing that runs this matrix on a fundamental level. And if you want to talk about like the entities, like the archons, the demonic entities or whatever, like yet again, it's like a Wizard of Oz thing, right? Like, and you have to start to sort of ask the question, like, why is it that they have to go through like the life review? Why is it that they have to deceive you into the tunnel of light? Why is it that they have to, if these beings are so powerful, why do they have to do this roundabout stuff? Why do they have to control bloodlines? Why do they have to control politics and all this other stuff? If they're so powerful, like, why are they hiding in the unseen? And they're sort of hiding like this, and they're just like, oh, okay, let's do this, and then like they hide in the unseen, and then they do that. And it's this very like they're doing so many things in such a roundabout way that it's like, we've been operating in the shadows for thousands of years. Okay, first of all, if you're so powerful, why are you operating in the shadows? What are you afraid of? And secondly, why is it taking you thousands of years? If you're so powerful, why not just do it instantly, right? And so you have to ask these questions, and you have to realize, if you want to look at it from a reptilian perspective, right? Like if you think about like what is the function of a cobra's hood, or like whenever a cobra is scared, right? Like, well, what it will do is it will unfold its hood to make it look bigger than it really is. And that's how the archons work. That they are beings that are, they're masters of deception because they have no real strength, they have no real power, so that they're masters of deception to compensate. And so what they do is they disguise themselves as angels and spirit guides and deceased loved ones and religious figures, because it's like peacock feathers, it's like the cobra's hood, right? Like, what they're doing is they're making themselves look bigger and stronger than they actually are in order to compensate for a lack of actual strength. And so if you this is the thing, you have to see the man behind the curtain, and you have to break out of that constrained sense of possibility, because that's still a part of this soul trap, is constraining the sense of human possibility as much as possible to create that Eeyore, oh, I can't, nihilism, meaninglessness, oh, it's impossible. Like, creating that energy is something that is the cornerstone of this entire matrix, right? And so I think this is probably the most important, like, I would say personally, my most important video on dealing with like the reincarnation trap, the soul trap, is that you have to tap into limitless possibility. You can't believe in, like, the lies of this matrix, and you can't fall for that constrained sense of possibility, that spiritual myopia of, oh, I can't, and this is impossible, and that's impossible. Like, if you fall for that, you're still in the matrix. It doesn't matter if you see that, oh, okay, it's a reincarnation soul trap, but you're still in this, then you're still plugged in. And so that's something that even in like this sort of sector of, like, the online space, that where people talk about like the soul trap information, they're still, it's like, yet again, it's like they get it, but they still don't get it, right? And yet again, like, you're looking at these entities. These entities are far, far weaker than they claim to be. These entities are far, far less powerful than they claim to be, and this is why they're hiding in the shadows. This is why they're making themselves look bigger than they really are, to make themselves look stronger than they really are, because really they're the weakest, right? But they have to convince you that you're weak and that they're strong, even though we're the strong ones, they're the weak ones, they're the deceivers. That's a sign of weakness, is being deceitful, hiding behind the scenes, hiding in the shadows, making themselves look bigger than they really are. That's a sign of weakness. It's a sign of insecurity, and I'm tired of people giving these beings more credit than they deserve. Right? See the man behind the curtain. Tap into limitless possibility. That's how you're gonna defeat the soul trap permanently, right? And forever, right? Wallahi, it is finished, right? Game over, you win. If you tap into that limitless sense of possibility instead of like the constrained myopia, which is a part of this matrix, right? But yeah, that's the video.